Welcome back to The Talk. More chaos for the Conservative Party as Suella Braverman's allies claim that she and the Prime Minister made a secret deal over migration during his leadership bid. The two reportedly made a pact to raise the salary threshold for migrants from £26,000 to £40,000. And other measures included tougher restrictions on bringing family members to the UK and tighter rules on foreign students coming to non-Russell Group universities. Braverman referenced the deal in her scathing departure letter after being sacked as Home Secretary. And the claims come amid growing cabinet tensions over the controversial Rwanda asylum plan. New Home Secretary James Cleverly drew criticism from frontbencher Laura Trott for saying the policy is not the be-all and end-all. Today in the Commons, he promised to break the business model of organised crime gangs and said that Rwanda policy was part of a bigger plan.
The Rwanda scheme is an incredibly important part of the basket of responses that we have. I will do everything to ensure that we drive down small boat arrivals. That is the promise that we have made to the British people, and that is the commitment that I will deliver.
Meanwhile, Downing Street has failed to guarantee the new Rwanda treaty will be published before Christmas, despite growing pressure. Look, it's clear that Rishi Sunak chose James Cleverly as Suella Braverman's successor to try and bring down the temperature, because I often said that Suella Braverman was all talk but no bite, right? She just used to talk a big game, saying we'll bring down everything and all of that, and then, you know, we didn't really see results because I think she didn't have enough time to actually have results and back herself. And then when she got fired, she decided to release the scathing letter, which I thought was a bit immature. But I think on the point, and there is every possibility that the Rwanda scheme could still go ahead. So I'm not saying that, you know, the Conservatives have completely turned it off. But I think there should be a greater emphasis on the actual minimum salary for people to be issued worker visas. Because actually the argument that we keep hearing that we need workers and we need these highly skilled people to come and boost our economy, I don't really see any kind of evidence for that. £26,000 as the minimum to be able to get a work visa. That's the amount that a graduate gets paid, like a recent graduate. If you are a highly skilled worker, you should be making more than £26,000. I mean, you have florists who are actually on the list of you know, required highly skilled workers that we need in the UK, which is absolutely ludicrous. I think there is a lot of merit to actually raising the minimum salary to £40,000 because I do think that's, I mean, I still think that's pretty low, but it does support the argument that actually these migrants are worth more than the average British worker.
I think there's a lot of work to be done here. I mean, I was interested by James Cleverly's choice of language. Basket of responses. It's like case. Basket case. It's just like, exactly. Well done. At least you've identified the Rwanda scheme as an absolute basket case, waste of money, and it's a distraction. Suella Braverman was a distraction. She came out, as you said, with all the tough talk, all the noise, but did nothing. And it's like execution, getting things done is what needs to be done. And in fact, we have to look at the numbers. To deal with 700,000 plus people, net migration is a huge number of people.
Half of whom are dependents.
Exactly, and to look after and to house and to make sure that we have the infrastructure. I am all for good quality, suitable, you know, humane immigration, if you like, trying to make sure that we are kind and compassionate to families and to people and all the rest of it. However, even 40,000, when it comes to it, if you want to go and work in the US, if you want to get a green card, you have to show that there isn't somebody local who can have that job, and you've got to have sponsors and support, and it's hard graft. Why? Because there's a huge prize at the end. We have to change the relationship between wanting to make sure that people come and visit, tourists, fantastic, people come and study, great, but stop bringing all your dependents and 93 family members and everything else when you come and study. I mean, I didn't go off to university and take my mum and dad and put them in my bag and get it. It's a nonsense.
That's not what the dependents are. It would be your husband and wife and your
the dependents come with a work
It ain't the grandmas, it ain't your great-grandparents. It's literally your children and your spouse.
Yeah.
To cut off our nose to spite our face would be ridiculous. We did it with Brexit, and they're going to try and do it now again. We bring in, students.
We did it with Brexit. In what way?
International students bring in £40 billion across the time of their studying here. So to make it harder for those people to come here, 40 billion. Yeah,
I don't think the argument for students is to make it harder. I think it's to prioritise Russell Groups.
Russell Group, which is 14% of all universities, yet they bring in 40% of international students. So what they're saying is the poshest universities can have as many students as they want. The rest of the universities should fall to the side. It's not fair.
Yeah.
We genuinely need these students to come. And
to bolster a university degree?
Yes, because they're bringing money to the country, James.
And also, not just money to the country. If you look at just the universities, without the wider economy, universities themselves make £9.7 billion just from international students. A fifth of students in universities are international students, and they've raised tuition fees by 71% over the past 6 years. So universities are more reliant than they have ever been on international students. So if you want to take them away, you're going to have universities failing.
I think that's a perfectly fine argument, but I think we're getting fixated on the students versus the workers, because I think the bigger issue should be the workers and the fact that the entry the requirement to get a worker visa is only £26,000, which I was saying is an entry-level salary.
As you're right on that, but just going back to the original Braverman issue, most of the things that she claims that Rishi Sunak agreed to, I don't believe for a minute he'd agreed to, because most of them were inflationary. And if you think about at the time when he was making those deals, he was promising that he was going to get inflation down, and he was promising he was going to get waiting lists down. Both of the things that she was saying would have damaged that. You put price in order to, if you don't have as many immigrants, local wages go up. That's inflationary. If you don't have as many people coming in to be nurses and doctors and care workers, you will definitely impact the NHS and waiting lists will go up. So I don't believe for a minute that he said yes to what she said.
I agree. Braverman is a liar. Further away from home.